Click.
Oh, there it is.
There it is.
Oh my God! It's like, how does this guy get through the day? Everyone's wondering. I can't operate any of this.
Just a little bit.
It's amazing.
So how you doing, Steve?
I'm doing well. Aside from I'm always amazed when I go on Skype. I'm like, how does this work again?
Yeah, definitely could use some streamlining.
I just don't use it enough, really.
Guess not.
I'm a texter. I just like text.
Yeah, well, I noted that.
The impersonal effects of a text. You can say all you want in a few words and just never have to deal with human beings. How beautiful.
Right.
It's astounding.
Isn't it wonderful?
That's why I love it.
Who else do we have on here? We've got...
Well, we've got me. We've got, Viral, Kyle, Tim, and Crescendo online with us right now.
We are doing an interview.
Wonderful.
Please
Now,
be quiet.
Viral, Kyle. Are you in a bubble or something? Are you contagious?
No, I am not contagious.
Okay, good to know.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, man.
So we all know that you've done a little bit of work on a little popular game called Grand Theft Auto.
I call it the little video game that could.
I've heard of that one before.
Yep. And then you've also done a little bit of work with Ride to Hell Retribution, which is a bit of a contrast considering that was voted one of the least favorable games of the year.
Oh, really? I don't even know what I ended up. It was a very small thing I did. That was kind of an introduction for me, and I didn't work that much on it. And it was all mocap for that, I believe, too. But I think it was just a bunch of little things. Honestly, I don't even remember much of it.
Yeah, and then before that, you played the lead character in Alone in the Dark.
That was more of like a little. It didn't feel like a lot that I did on that one. Yeah, I mean that was some years ago, but again, like with most of these things, and I guess because of the length of time was short, it didn't feel obviously like Grand Theft, which was a 3-year commitment. It didn't have the same impact for me. I just sort of. You do it as a job, as an actor. You do a gig, and you're like, okay. And since I'm not into video games, I was just like, oh, okay, this is cool. And I did the job, and then it's over. And now I look for another job. So, it didn't have the impact with GTA, where you're working on it for 3 years, and then all of a sudden you realize what an enormous effect this game has, or the impact it has.
Right. Because, I mean, you look through now, and you were nominated for VGX for, one of the, what is it, male voice actors of the year. And, well, unfortunately, you lost out to, they put Troy Baker in twice. That was kind of unfair.
Yeah, I've had a lot of stuff online, very, very kind people saying, I just, obviously someone paid for that one because no one could understand how he would win. And apparently, I think he just did voice for that, too. He didn't even do motion capture.
No, yeah, I think he did voice for Joel from Last of Us and Booker DeWitt on BioShock Infinite.
Yes, I mean, that's awesome. Good for him. I mean, I don't really. It's all it's obviously always nice to win things, but again, it's you don't really think about it. I was more excited to be mentioned in the same group as Willem Dafoe. I was like, oh my God, that's awesome.
Yeah, no, I mean, and also, then again, Grand Theft Auto did win, multiple Game of the Year, so at least you get the recognition for that.
That's true. I guess one should look at it like a team sport, right?
Mm-hmm. A little bit, yeah. I mean,
instead of selfishly just go, oh, I'm a loser. I lost.
You're not a loser. You were nominated. That's phenomenal.
Yeah, but it's like, it's like they always, I mean, again, it's all good at the end of the day, but certainly it's like when you enter a race, it's like, I don't know. When I'm in it to win it.
Yep. I gotcha.
But again, it doesn't, it's all good. I didn't lose much sleep that night over it.
Yeah. So aside from Grand Theft Auto and other video games, what are you working on right now that you're proud of?
I just finished a wonderful, beautiful experience. It was a film shot in Toronto called He Never Died. And it stars Henry Rollins and also I think it's Boo Boo Stewart. Never worked with. He's one of the the folks from the Twilight series.
Oh, okay.
So he's got the recognition for that. So those are sort of the people involved, and Jason Kozak wrote and directed it, and it was just it's going to be a real exciting, cool film, I think, and it was just such an amazing group of people, cast and crew, and it was definitely a love bubble, and we all had an amazing time, and I think that film should be quite good because it's quite different. It sort of turns a few different genres on its head. You can't really say it's a horror film or a vampire film or anything like that. It sort of combines a bunch of different things and basically takes the man Henry Rollins, and it's about someone who is, well, picture someone who's almost a midlife crisis at a point in his life where he's not happy with the way his life is, where it's gone, what's happening. Right. So take that and a man that's at wit's end, and then put him into a position where he's essentially undead. He can't die. So that's Henry Rollins' character, is this man who can't die. And it's really, really cool. And so he's, struggling with what to do, and he still needs to feed on blood. So he's not into killing people, but he needs to get blood from this guy who supplies it from a hospital, and then it has to do with it. I come in, and he'd had a relationship with my father that wasn't so good, and I've taken over my father's business, so then it becomes a thing of me getting back at him. And the story there is kind of interesting, because how do you get back at someone that you can't kill?
Right.
Which I thought was quite an interesting thing to cover. And so yeah, it's that's what's going on for that. And then I've got some other. I'm shooting a short film actually at the beginning of the year in January called Handicap Stall, and the short films are always fun to do as an actor because it's just usually a little more creative freedom, and you get to really develop and work on a character and sort of take some big chances with it.
Right.
So I got that, and then the only other things lined up are another short film that's going to shoot in Oregon called Safe, and that's like sort of a zombie apocalyptic thing.
Right.
That takes place. So excited about that, and that's everything else is just back to the drawing board. Really, you just have to audition for stuff.
Yep. No, I got you.
Glorious life of an actor.
Yeah. So compared with work, because you've worked in short films, feature, you've done some TV stuff, you've done feature films, you've done video games. What's your favorite to work with?
It's tough. They all have their thing, right? And so much depends on really who you're working with and the script and the character you're doing. So for me, it's more about the actual what the project is than about the type, because the difference between all these mediums, theater, film, TV, and video, is just technical.
Right.
The video games, doing that, the motion capture, is a blast because you have so much freedom. You don't have to concern yourself with close-ups and hitting the mark, and you basically have freedom. It's basically like the theater. It's a combination of theater and film. So I love they all have their strengths. I mean, theater is great because it's the purity of a performance, and there's nothing to hide behind. And the theater is the actor's medium. That's where film is a director's medium, and video games are sort of the animators and storyboard medium because they are the ones that can manipulate and control it.
Right.
Whereas theater, you either suck or you're good.
Yep. So I take it you started off in theater then?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I did theater growing up in Canada. Haven't done it in a while, and I do miss it, so I would like to. I'd auditioned for a few things this year that I didn't get, but I would certainly love to do a good play one of these days.
Yeah, that'd be cool to see you back on, like, maybe even Broadway.
Yeah, it was funny, you know. I mean, my sort of sensibilities, unfortunately, don't necessarily run towards the mainstream.
Right. No, I can see that. Although, ironically, you say that, and here you are with, like, you know, a game that sold, you know, what was it, $800 million on the first day?
Oh, yeah. No, it's not that I wouldn't do those things. I mean, that's like, I look at, you know, I mentioned Willem Dafoe, and there's a career in a man that I respect highly. And his ability, if you look at the range of his projects, now, even this year, for instance, or even in the past few months, he's got Out of the Furnace in the movie theaters with Christian Bale, and he plays his, you know, deliciously skeevy character, and then he does, he's on, there's I forget the song, but he's doing this sort of electronica song. I don't know if anyone has heard it. It's a really cool song where he's just sort of, you know, it's one of those songs where there's like ambient music playing, and then it's like, I decided to walk down to the bank.
So it's like a spoken word on top of a beat kind of thing?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
And it's really cool. So he's got that, and then he did the video game that came out. So video game, song, film, and then this week I saw him at the Park Armory in probably, for me, the best performance, or more the best experience, I should say, of the year. And he was doing the life and death of Marina Abramovich. And Marina Abramovich is considered the grandmother of performance art. She was the one in the 60s that would stand stark naked on a stage and run across and hit the wall. And that was her performance piece, and she would do it all day.
Right.
It's a lot of that, you know, very sort of masturbatory, self-indulgent bullcrap that you look at and you go, that's not art, that's BS. But he did the whole thing, and he narrated the show, and he wore they were all in white makeup, and he had this flaming red hair. He was kind of almost looked like the Joker. And so, like, amazing. Like, this guy does all of this, and it's just because he enjoys the different aspects of performing. And that, to me, is what it's all about. Like, that's the ideal thing. And this guy is just off the hook for his range and being able to do that. So, like, that kind of thing, I would love to do. Like, you know, he used to do Wooster Group, and that's how I first sort of got into Willem Dafoe. And Wooster Group is a theater in Soho in New York that does a lot of like kabuki theater, which is where, you know, the white face paint, that's a Japanese influence, and they would do Eugene O'Neill's Hairy Ape, and they'd do it with microphone and do this whole performance. And I love it because it's so different and so wacky and just wackadoodle. Sometimes it doesn't work, like you're going, this is just bull crap. But it's different, and I always appreciate that. And so, like, that type of theater, or like St. Anne's Warehouse, which is a place in Brooklyn, or BAM, those are the places that I'm, like, that would be my dream to do. But, unfortunately, if you're a nobody, it's tough to get into those things because you're nobody. So that's why my sensibilities are a little different, like...
Right.
And it's not like I'm being offered Broadway anyways. I mean, you got to do a long...
Yeah, no, I mean, you know, you see it all the time. Like, you know, you go to New York and you talk to the waiters, and it's like, yeah, no, I'm doing some acting stuff. You know, I'm in between plays right now, blah, blah, blah. Like, it's a tough business. I mean... Horrible
business.
Yeah.
But
and then,
what
like,
is
you're
it?
in the limelight for all of, like, what, you know, 8 weeks, you know, a couple hundred shows, and then poof.
Yeah, and even still, like, you could be on, you know, your own TV show. You could be in a movie. You could be doing all this stuff. And then a year later, you can't get a job.
Yeah.
So that's the business. And, you know, luckily, you know, I've been in it long enough that I know there's going to be ups and downs. And so it's like, you know, you get GTA come out, a project like that, and you get a lot of recognition and it feels good.
Yeah.
But you're just realistic with what it is and where it takes you.
All right.
And you just sort of you keep picking away.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm going to open up questions. Any other members in the call? Anybody got anything pressing? All right. I guess not.
Yeah.
Silence.
I think it would
Silence.
be great if people that are in the chat would be willing to ask questions that they want answered.
Well, let's see. We've got one question asking, what was that, if you know the name of that William Dafoe song, just kind of off the top of your head.
I've been looking, and I'm actually right now. It's funny because every time I search for it, it just comes up with this piece for Abramovich, and even on iTunes. Because I listen to KEXP is this great radio station out of California, and I've heard it a lot, and they're like, and that's the new song by blah blah blah, and I'd never write it down.
Right. No, I got you.
So maybe whoever's listening can do a search, and whoever gets it first gets the merriest of Christmas.
Guess that makes sense. So, did you have a big influence? Did you look, for something for inspiration, kind of getting into character for Trevor? Did you have something that would, kind of where did you draw inspiration from for such a, psychopathic, but at the same time still likable character?
Some of them were kind of interesting, actually, because I got to say one of my biggest influences, or I don't know, not influences, but one thing that I'd say every day I did listen to and fueled me was a band called City and Color.
Mm-hmm.
Now, he is usually his acoustic guitar, and it's very, a lot of it's very sad. I mean, it's very, very sad, beautiful, haunting lyrics. And so not your typical, you think, okay, Trevor, you'd be listening to a little, 9 Inch Nails or Trent Reznor or some sort of Anthrax or, maybe even some country music or something to put you in the mood. No, for me, the City and Color, and because he's so good, that's what inspired me most, was listening to goodness or anything good. So I would be inspired to raise the bar for myself. Mm-hmm. If that makes sense. So
yeah, no, I gotcha.
I mean, performance-wise, there was probably one of the biggest was Willem Dafoe. Sorry, Tom Hardy. In a film called Bronson.
So I'm thinking I'm familiar with that one.
And it's I don't love the film because it glorifies this criminal who's a real-life criminal in England.
Right.
And the film itself, I feel, is a little too encourages that man, and I don't think we should be supporting that kind of stuff. But Tom Hardy's performance in that had a very larger-than-life theatricality to it. The man was very violent and very funny. Like, you're laughing a lot of times, and you're going, God, I really shouldn't be laughing at this. And that's sort of what I had, with Trevor. I was like, that's kind of Trevor. I mean, I want to make Trevor a North American version of Bronson.
Right.
This violent dude who you're uncomfortable watching sometimes, but also you're laughing at, and there's some humanity in him. So Tom Hardy's performance, and City and Color, and then I get just the goodness, inspiration from goodness. So just music I'd be listening to, and the film Bullhead actually had quite an impact on me, by a Belgian actor, Matthias Schoenhart, just because of his intensity.
Right.
So I get inspired by a lot of different things, but it's the through line for it all is goodness. So be it an art installation, being a photograph, being a book, my performances generally come from being inspired by the goodness of others. Therefore, it makes me want to raise the bar and be good, so others will feel some sort of inspiration, possibly, if that makes sense.
Right. No, I gotcha.
It's not like, I was watching Tom Cruise in Minority Report, and I was, yeah, man.
All right.
That ain't me.
Yeah.
So we know the inspiration of your character. I have to
Really
ask,
sorry.
a lot of actors put like some of their own personality into their characters. What would you say you gave to Trevor?
I would hope, well, the sense of humor and a dark sense of humor that not everyone gets. I certainly have that. I like the darker sense of humor. So that's, a big thing that I tried to bring was that. And that was, one of my big, not concerns with Trevor, but I definitely wanted to make him beyond just a psychopath. So bringing my sense of humor to him was important. That was probably the biggest thing, because it certainly wasn't the nasty stuff.
Yeah.
So,
All right, so we got a question in the chat from Rochi. He asks, did the popularity of Grand Theft Auto 5 surprise you? And what is your take on video game violence? Many medias have said that GTA should be banned because of some of the scenes in the game. Most of them Trevor related.
that stuff drives me absolutely nuts. I'll address that first, and then we'll go backwards.
Alrighty.
How can we focus on the violence and the effects of violence in video games and not focus on the guns in people's basements, the guns in people's homes, the lack of parenting, the lack of communication in a family? There's no focus on that. I mean, you get these absolute dinks at Fox and people like this with their ridiculous, stupid-ass comments. And then I'm like, but where's the discussion about the reality of what's happening? Like, there's never any discussion of like the what happened in Connecticut, the tragedy in Connecticut, and that they mentioned some about video games. I'm like, hold on. So the knee-jerk reaction is of the violence that he was watching, or all of that.
Mm-hmm.
But his mom had guns in the basement.
Yep.
Isn't that a bigger issue than?
Because I remember too, they were drawing at straws on the whole video game thing because they just happened to catch his name in like a group for a game Mass Effect, which is mostly focused on the story elements. That's what it's hailed for, not its ultra violence.
This,
Sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say that this leads me to remember something about a British study that was done over the period of 10 years, in which proves that a sample pool of about 10,000 children, and they played video games throughout these 10 years. Not one of them responded with violence because of these video games.
Of course not. It's such a ridiculous argument. I mean, what makes it a strong argument is because it's easy, right? It's easy if you can just say, but it's this. This is the fault. This is the problem. As opposed to looking the deeper of communication, of our culture, of the need for people to escape, just have these violent things or whatever. Like to me, it's part of the dumbing down of culture. Because it's easy to blame and it's an easy scapegoat, let's do it. Instead of focusing on the problem of like, where's good old-fashioned parenting gone, or where's communication or talk or anything like that. So that it's sort of like, heavy metal music. I mean, when Metallica was blamed for, I think they were blamed for a murder or suicide. Someone's suicide, but it's the same thing, right? It's like, okay, well, people listen to this, it makes them turn into killers or kill themselves. No, you know what? They're probably something wrong in the head to start with. And I recently did this interview with Gian Gameshi on a show in Canada called Q, and he had mentioned this I think it was a New York Times or New York Observer writer, talking about the violence of games and how it's more because it's the first person player, because you're immersed in the world, it makes it worse, and people are more sensitive to or more prone to violence because it's not like a movie where there's distance. This is, you're actually involved, you're participating in killing and beating and doing all sorts of bad stuff. Okay, like I get that's a good point, but I mean, it's to me, it's the true relevancy as well. Why not look at what happened to this person before? Or I can't say because of this they've now killed. I think you're probably messed up in the head a bit. You have issues before. Do you know what I'm saying? If you go and you shoot people in real life, after watching a video game or playing a video game, guaranteed there's other issues going on in your life. You didn't, I mean, Wyatt, you play them, and I know
Yeah, I
you,
do.
and I know your
Right.
family, and I feel pretty comfortable. I would leave my newborn with you because I don't believe you would eat their head because you just played a new zombie video game.
Yeah, I'd like to think I'm fairly trustworthy.
But that's where, so it's an escape for people. It's a fun escape, and it's just an easy thing to blame. And I think it's just part of dumbing down and copping out, not really focusing on the issues, which is, like Fox News is a perfect example of the dumbing down of culture, because they just take the immediate knee-jerk reaction and blame it and say, this is this. No, you just got to be smarter and look beyond that.
And use science.
So that's a bit of a
reasoning.
tangent. I get on a bit of a tangent with that one.
It's okay. It needs to be said because it's a pretty big issue.
Yeah.
I mean, because for the future of the industry, just coming off of a major game, and myself just going into the game design studies at university, it's kind of really important to me, especially, and I'm sure to you, because here you are, coming off of a huge game release, and wanting to take your career further, both in and out of games. It's important, not to get labeled as anything, and to identify stigmas.
And not only that, but you got. Oh, sorry. But you also have to watch out for society, because if it's a society that's dumbing down, as you've said, it's really not good for everyone or anyone at all, and overall has a bad outcome.
Well, it's the wrong focus. Like, again, I mean, I lived in Europe. I'm from Canada originally, and I lived in Europe for 6 years. And it's like, okay, nudity is a perfect example. So in America, you can't see a breast, okay? Like, you can't, God forbid if you see boobs, because it'll incite massive gang rapes upon every male if you show a boob on TV. Yet, you can watch the news and see the video footage of a drone strike taking out a village. So the news, we can show violence. New York Times, we can see bloody carcasses all over the streets. So that's okay. Yet sexuality is bad. That I don't get. Like, again, there's the wrong focus for me. So they have violence out there. They have more and more violence in TV. Television's 10 years ago, you didn't see the level of violence that you do on TV. So it doesn't make sense to me. It's very unequal,
Mm-hmm. I mean, weren't you in Law and Order briefly?
I did a guest star on that back in the days of when.
And even look at that, and it's like you see dead bodies, and there's gunfights and all this, and then and that's fine because that's like prime time and everything. But at the same time, you can't so much as like talk about. Well, I mean, only recently can you start talking about people who have openly gay relationships. Because we're so terrified of this uncouth completely natural thing, but yet complete and utter murder and violence is completely fine so long as they don't get exposed to bad words or God forbid nudity.
Yeah, like okay, same-sex marriage is going to be the end of civilization. Oh, really? What? Okay, so people loving each other is worse than seeing this violence. It doesn't make sense. And like I said, that's why when you start digging and really discussing it, which is great if people discuss it, it's good. But I think because it's an easy scapegoat for people and it's just an easy sort of, well, this is the problem. No, come on. Don't be stupid.
Yeah.
And I forget even the first part of the question now.
Yeah. I was going to say, let's not dwell on this too much. Popularity of Grand Theft Auto 5 and, yeah. Like, did it surprise you at all, or did you see this coming when you, auditioned for the role?
Well, yeah. I mean, I didn't know. I'm not a gamer, so I really don't know the world. And I've obviously learned much more now, and it's pretty incredible, and it's a very unique thing. I didn't know. I had no idea. I mean, some of the other actors knew. They were like, "Oh man, it's gonna be huge, huge," and I was like, "Oh, really? Okay." Like, I don't know. Like, what does huge mean? Like, again, for me, it's pretty cool. You know, I've got all these followers and fans, and they're very lovely and wonderful, and it's, you know, it's flattering. People stop you and want a picture, and it's sweet. I mean, it's really lovely, and I like that. And I feel blessed, and I feel very fortunate to be part of something like this. But, you know, for me, I certainly didn't do it because I thought I could potentially get 1 million followers on Twitter.
Yeah.
I don't really, you know, care. I mean, I think it's really cool. And maybe if I had some independent film that I was like, I had a script that someone sent me that was incredible, and I was like, God, I want to do this. Let's go on Kickstarter. And then, you know, go to my fans and say, hey, if everyone pitches in $1, we can make this film. Now, I'm no Zachary Braff, but, you know, that would be kind of cool, stuff like that. But outside of that, I'm just, shit, man, I'm back to going, okay, I don't have anything next week.
Yeah. So how did you even find, you know, audition for this? Was this like your agent told you to try something like this? Did it just fall into your hand?
Total audition, just like everything else. You know, you get the opportunity to audition for it, and I went to the audition, and you have sides, and you basically read with the casting director.
Right.
And then some weeks went by, and then I was told you have and I didn't even know what the project was. I mean, it was just some video game. They don't give you the name. And because it's, you know, it's very secretive. And so.
Yeah, God, I know that.
Yeah.
So do you. God, what are we now, like, you know, 10-foot pile of just non-disclosure at this point?
Yeah, it's quite something. I've never seen anything like that before. So yeah, it's quite a, you know, it was just a video game, and the character was fantastic. And so I was like, I didn't care what it was, and I thought motion capture, and that excited me because, again, I'd done a little bit of it, but I thought, man, if this is a 1-year project, which is what the initial sort of thing was, it was going to be for a year.
Right, so you're just going with like the ping pong ball suit and just kind of idly just kind of sit there and, you know, do your thing.
It's fantastic. And so, yeah, the callback was with, you know, we got different people were working together to sort of see the chemistry and the combination. And when Ned and I, who plays Michael, did our thing, it was there was definitely something happening there. So, and that's how, boom. And after that, they offered the gig.
Yeah. Probably seems a little bit easier since, you know, you're just in kind of a more controlled environment where you can just kind of carry on with a little bit less direction with, you know, the actors on screen, a little bit more interaction, as opposed to something like a film where everything has to be so micromanaged with camera placement and everything.
Yeah, I mean, that's what's great. That's the freedom, you know, like I was mentioning about the motion capture, is you're in an enormous studio, you know, a huge, huge studio, and you just have the freedom to play. And for me, it was great because it really reinvigorated my my desire to act, because I had taken some years off, and it was just, again, because it's pure play, and you're just, you know, you can see on the screen your animated self and your character, and you can see your surroundings. Like, let's say I'm in my trailer, I can see Trevor's trailer, and I can see this and the bathroom and the toilet. But in our studio, it's just Apple boxes and tape and stuff that's built to measure the exact height. And so it's like being in the theater when I was 12. You're just playing. Yeah, hey, I'm having fun, and beating someone and yelling at someone. It's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. Has anybody else got anything? Yeah.
Is there any specific project that you'd like to see yourself work in? Like any style of video game or style of movie?
No. You know, I'm just like, you know, you just keep going to the next project. I mean, it's not like I have a slew of things across my desk and I'm going, not this one, no, yes, no, yes. I'm not in that position by any means. So, you know, I like something different. I really do. Like, I don't have a network TV mentality, if that makes sense.
Right. No, I got you. You know, you're just going job to job, doing what you can. You know, but
and also I like stuff that's a little outside the box. So if there's anything that I would want, be it, video, TV, film, whatever. That's about the only thing I would say, is that I would love something that is everything that I gravitate towards is a little left of center. I don't like to go into the box, but that's what most actors like, is the challenge of something different. So it's kind of a lame ass answer, but it is like, again, going to see the life and death of Marina Abramovich is like, that's my thing. So once you sort of understand that world, you go, oh, okay, I see where his head is at. He's kind of that artsy fartsy guy.
Yeah, I gotcha.
But that doesn't mean, again, you balance it out, to do some sort of a big budget, action movie. That'd be fun too, because whatever it is, you get to ideally impose your own sensibilities on it.
Right.
So I feel like I've come full circle and answered nothing. I started with an answer and I talked myself out of the answer.
No, to me, you answered a lot. Thank you.
Oh, okay, good.
So you said before you play a little bit with your son, right? A little bit of Grand Theft Auto, infrequently.
I've never actually picked up the controller. He has.
Oh, okay.
He's picked it up and just done some of the driving stuff. And again, there's a case like, my son, he gets it, and he's for bad words, and I'm not concerned about him becoming a psychopath because he's playing this, but he's also not playing the whole thing, and he's not
right.
Because especially like Franklin and Lamar, like, that language is a little more difficult. He's heard the F-bomb plenty of times. Not from me, just from others. Yeah. But I haven't actually picked up the game, like the control.
Yeah. I mean, if you get the time, like, just because I was just, it's like with anything else, some people don't like, touching things they've already worked on, or, they get kind of like antsy about it because, it's like, oh, I already did this. I don't really need, I don't need to take it further. Like I've played it a little bit because, I was in QA for it. So I've played, the same 8 levels a couple thousand times. I've beaten the game 2 or 3 times, but I can still kind of go back with the polished product and just kind of go in and just see all the little nuances in it, which I can really appreciate, which is super fun.
It's pretty amazing to see, like, even yesterday I saw, my boy wanted to play a bit. So I was like, okay, let's go, go on it, and I'll sit, because I sit with him and just to make sure nothing untoward happens. And so I'm sitting there and I'm like, wow, like watching the sunset is incredible. And on the water, the reflection, I'm like, this is amazing, man.
Yeah. The audience wants a Trevor yell. You got anything off the top of your head?
What's a Trevor yell?
What
is a Trevor yell?
Just that the whole crazy thing he goes into. like just any
he just goes into one of his things. Oh, now this is scaring all my dogs. Huh? My dogs right now are getting freaked out. Wagging your tail, huh? Huh, Billy? Oh, and here comes Nat. I got 2 dogs now coming at me. Hmm? Oh, you little fucker.
Oh, God.
Like that.
Yeah.
Girl, performing. I was performing. I was asked to. Yes. Down.
Yeah, I got you. So, no, geez, hot button issue coming up in the chat. So do you remember the torture scene that was like, super hot button issue with what's his name, and Devin, the crazy car dealer guy? Yeah. How did you approach that? Did you just kind of have fun? Did you just kind of joke around with it? To what grade of seriousness were you like in it for that scene?
The thing with that is not to diminish it, but there was so much technical to that that I don't, I didn't get that, and I was like, oh my God, I just finished reading this article that Christopher Hitchens wrote, in Vanity Fair about waterboarding, and now I'm going to do it, and oh my God, I just, no.
You're just sitting there swinging a wrench or putting some jumpers together.
The thing is with all that is it was so technical. So honestly, during that, here's where my head is at. Okay, we've got Azerbaijani in the chair, and we're in our motion capture suits. All right, so balled up. He's in the chair. I'm standing there, and we had to do obviously all these different things, right?
Right.
So when you're doing motion capture, if you put your hand, and this is going to sound lovely, but it's the only way to put it. If you put your hand on another person's balls, the animator is blocked from seeing that portion of the other character. So, and if I cross over, or during that, I knew there was going to be very close to each other, and there'd be instruments we were using, and I'm clamping on, and I'm doing this. I'm thinking of the animators.
Right.
I'm thinking of, are they able to, is this reading? So even when we first started and we were rehearsing the scene, I was like, can I do this? Can I go around? And no, you really need to come in from this angle and do this.
Right, because, you can't have any of the little sensors, like, crossing or anything, because you got to keep the wireframes.
Exactly. So it becomes a very technical thing, and that's where, I was thinking, okay, does it work here? Does it work for this? And that was my big thing during that. And that's honestly what I remember most, is just the technical aspect of it all, of like, okay, it's a team sport. So I'm there for everyone. I'm not there for my performance, and I'm going to make this an interrogation scene that's going to, shock America.
Yeah.
No, I'm not thinking, oh my God, how's this going to look? And what are people going to say? And is this going to cause massive waterboarding? And no, I'm thinking, okay, are my balls touching his balls? Am I hiding his balls? Am I, is this instrument I'm holding covering too much of his chest? So the animators, am I covering his face?
Right.
Is my mouth flicking his? So for me, any issue that would have been there was completely erased by just the technical aspect of that scene.
Right.
And even so, I still wasn't thinking of it, because I'm on a video game and I'm wearing spandex and I'm shooting this interrogation scene. It's a job.
Mm-hmm. So did you have to go back for the voice work, or was that just all in one with the mocap suits?
The only voice acting is really the car scenes, when everyone's driving around and we're just, so where are we gonna blah, blah, blah. All of that is recorded in studio, because you don't need any motion capture. And all of that was really done at the end of the 3-year process. We just went in for some, you'd go in for like 4-hour sessions and maybe did a handful of those. Everything else is recorded just like on a movie set. You've got your mic, and it's all mic'd up, and it's all being recorded while you're shooting.
Yeah, it makes it easier, I bet. Just kind of so you don't have to break out of like character or anything like that.
Yeah, and also as a performance, I think what people have responded to with these performances is that we were doing a performance. It was an animated, just like a movie or TV show being animated. That's what we were doing. So everyone brought the performance to the voice, as opposed to bringing the voice to the performance.
Right. No, I gotcha.
I think that's a big thing with this game, is that the performances were all there, the voice not, the other way around, where you're just sitting there voicing an animated character.
Mm-hmm.
Brings a bit more in.
Yeah, no, I understand. You can really tell in the game that it's just really well polished. Everything's like got synced up. I mean, even in some of the earlier stuff, I could just kind of tell, going in, it's like, wow, this is going to be something.
Yeah, right. I mean, it does. It does a thing to it for sure.
All right. Well, I don't want to keep you too long. You've been fantastic, though. I really appreciate you doing this for us.
Oh, you're so welcome. It's awesome. How's it going? Do you guys play all day now still, or what's the story?
we're on the third day pretty much. We've been since like Friday at 9 p.m. We've been going. We had all kinds of guests and people popping in, games and all sorts of fun stuff. Unfortunately, we're a little short of our goal, though.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
We're at $705, and our goal is $3,000.
What? We're a quarter of the way there.
Yeah,
We
24%.
still got some time.
Hopefully we'll be able to reach it, and hopefully, hint, hint, people in the chats. It goes to a good cause for Child's Play.
Yeah, because really, I mean, you just give $5, $10. It's like,
Yeah, it's a $10 minimum. You just, and then you can feel good about yourself. You're getting money towards a good cause, all that good stuff.
yeah, I mean, that seems like should be pretty simple, and everyone knows where to go on and how to give.
Yeah, we've been tweeting it out all the time.
Okay, well, hopefully people get on that, get off their Christmas asses, man. Come on now.
Yeah, if you can give us, I'll send you the link if you can give us a retweet.
Yeah, definitely.
Awesome.
Send it out to me.
Will do.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you, Wyatt, and everyone, and I hope everyone has a very, very Merry Christmas.
You as well.
I wish you one.
Hopefully, I'll be seeing you sometime soon. Hopefully, you get some good roles in. Hopefully, He Never Died turns out well. I'm looking forward to seeing it if it ever hits the States or wherever.
Yeah, I'm excited. No, it's an American production. I just shot in Canada, so they're hoping.
Oh, nice.
They're hoping for a summer. Well, first I heard summer, fall release next year because they're already editing it. I mean, they're boom, boom, boom. But then they mentioned the festivals, and really most of the festivals, like Sundance, happens in January. So if they release it in the fall, they can't go to the festival. So I don't know what's going on, but I think it's going to be a very cool, interesting film. I look forward to seeing it myself because, of course, it's the filmmaker's medium. I have nothing to do with how it's going to look or what they decide to do with it, but it's in a group of fantastic hands, so I have great faith in it.
Yep.
So we might see you around the holidays. Are you?
Oh yeah, no, I'm here.
Okay. So yeah, we might see you around.
Yeah.
All right, we'll stop by.
All right, we'll do. I'll see you later, Steve.
All right, man. Good luck, you guys.
Yeah, thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Thanks.
All right,
You have a good weekend, man.
Yeah, you too. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.